I know exactly why you clicked on this video. You're stupid. You're not stupid. You're just uninformed, let's say that. You don't know a thing about figures, do you? I mean, I bet you don't. You clicked on a video with a title practically implying that you are dumb. So, let's get on with this. Figures. We're specifically talking about anime figures for the most part, and we're also going to exclude articulated figures because I do not want to get into that. That could either be its own video or explained to you by anyone else. I am not qualified to talk about articulated figures. Yeah, you clicked on this video because you realized figure collecting isn't as easy as you thought it would be. And you know, this is the type of video when I was a beginner I would click on too. But the thing is, those YouTubers, they were so boring. They weren't funny. And I'm not saying I'm funny. Well, I am, but you get my point, right? There are three main types of figures, if you didn't already know. There's prize figures, non-scale figures, and scale figures. I feel like most of you only know one of those categories out of all three. But we're gonna change that right now. So sit down, get your popcorn, and oh my gosh, this is gonna be a long ride. Scale figures, their brands, and all their price ranges. What do you mean, what's a scale figure? You don't know what a scale figure is? You know what, fine.
Scale figures are exact replicas of the character, which is why scale figures are so detailed compared to other types of figures. Scale figures are usually linked to a certain scale. The scales they are linked to depend on how many times the height of the figure, not including the base, can be multiplied to get the canonical height of the actual character. Scale figures are also the main type of figures people like to collect.
Scale figures usually range from $90 to $500, which is a lot of money, but I have seen a few scale figures that were less and a few scale figures that are $1,000, which is a lot of money, and you know, it just keeps going up, you know. There's probably a scale figure out there that's like $5 million, and I would not buy that, and I'm not going to talk about that. So yeah, that's why I mostly collect the other two categories, prize and non-scale, because they're easier to get without, you know, me spending my entire life savings. Scale figures are made by many different brands. A lot of different brands. There's way too many, man. There's like 2 billion scale figure brands, and I think that's because it's the main type of figures people like to collect. The only scale figure brands I can think of at this very moment right now are like Good Smile Company, Spirit Tail, Hobby Stock, Belfine, Kotobukiya, this company, and Aniplex. I think I pronounced that correctly as well. Please don't yell at me in the comments. Please don't clutter my comments with, oh, you pronounced that wrong. Bro, I know. And do I care? No. I'll never be saying it out loud again. So I don't need to know. Prize figures, their brands, and their prices. Prize figures, in this case, is probably what you know about, or want to know about, or think you know about, but you don't. Or, you know, prize figures might be the type of figure you actually own, or you're an actual collector watching my video just to judge me, because that's something I've done before. Anyways, there are many prize figures made by a lot of different Japanese brands, but the most notable are Furyu, Sega, Bandai, and Teiteo, which I am praying that I pronounced those names correctly. Oh, I got musical there. I'm cutting that out. Teiteo is a brand with really nicely sized figures and good quality prize figures, but I think they are kind of tied to Sega. Sega has like some really nice figures. Their figures are like nice because they're big. Sega and Teiteo are good at making big figures that are also good quality. Like, they don't break easily. Well, not all of them. But, you know, they're really nice. Especially Sega. Like, I have some Sega Miku figures and, you know, a few other Sega figures. And this one Sega Miku figure, her pigtails are so well made. They're like really good quality. and really sturdy. Like, bro, I don't think those things can break. Well, you might be like, okay, I know the brands, but you haven't even told me what a prize figure is. And you might already know, but I still kind of need to talk to everyone. So, not everything's about you. A prize figure, it's in the name. It's a winnable figure. But prize figures I'm referring to particularly are the ones that are in the Japanese crane games. The other ones I classified as non-scale figures only because they're better quality than normal prize figures, and they're harder to win. So, they also cost more when they're being retailed in the United States and other places other than Japan. So, I kind of had to separate them somehow. Because you should not buy overpriced prize figures because that's just stupid, you could either ask me, which is not that convenient, is it? Just going into the comic section waiting for me to respond to your comment. Yeah, no. Especially if the figure is like a limited time deal or something. Like, yeah, you can't just do that. So I'll give you the rundown. New/retailed for you figures are worth $10 to $29. Older/resold for you figures are sold for $30 to $40. New/retailed Sega figures are worth $20 to $30. Old/resold Sega figures are sold for $40 to $80. New/retailed Totio figures are worth $29 to $40. Old/resold Totio figures are worth $40 to $90. And Bandai figures retailed/new are $10 to $30. Resold/older Bandai figures would be $29 to $50. Only really popular animes that are mainstream in Japan get prize figures, or really popular things in general that are mainstream in Japan. Because like I've seen a Spider-Man prize figure, like Marvel prize figures. Like for a while I didn't know those existed, but they do. So non-scale figures. This might be my personal favorite, and I don't even have that many non-scale figures. Yeah, I have a few, but I don't have that many, and I wish I did. I wish I had more, because I really like these figures, and I'm about to tell you why. Non-scale figures that are prize figures have similar quality to prize figures, but are also better quality. Non-scale figures that aren't prize figures usually have closer quality to scale figures, and can also be action figures and Nendoroids and things like that. Usually these non-scale figures cost $30 to $100 retail and $45 to $200 resale. And another thing is that brands that make prize figures also make non-scale figures, but some brands like Good Smile Company specifically that makes scale figures also makes non-scale figures. So a prize figure brand that makes a lot of non-scale figures is Bandai. In fact, I have one of their non-scale figures. It's a Tanjiro figure. Yeah, it's pretty nice, isn't it? And then Good Smile Company, most of my non-scale figures are their non-scale figures, like Nendoroids and Papa Parade figures. We'll get to Papa Parade in a little bit, but let me first tell you about bases. Bases is what the figure stands on. Prize figures can have a clear base to no base to a really ugly black base that has nothing on it, and it just looks horrible. But who cares? Well, I care, because it's so boring. And Bandai has that problem. They just make figures with black bases a lot. Specifically prize figures. When you get a Bandai non-scale figure, on the other hand, their bases can either match the figure or just be a black base with a design on it. But then again, that can apply to all non-scale figures, so yeah, especially the non-scale prize figures. Good Small Company has a line of non-scale figures that aren't Nendoroids. These figures are called Papa Parade figures. You've probably heard of them or not, I don't know. I really like them. They have a lot of variety when it comes to their characters. Also, they look really nice. Good Smile Company has Papa Parade figures from Cowboy Bebop all the way to That Time I Got Reincarnated as Slime. Variety. They're really nice quality as well, and I think they're great for beginners. Bootlegs. I'm going to talk about bootlegs before I talk about how to buy figures, because you're going to need to know this bootleg information. Alright, bootlegs. How to avoid them. Anime figures have a lot of bootlegs, like a lot. Main things about bootlegs are, 1, they're dirt cheap. which is not a good thing. It means cheapies like you would probably fall for those listings. I don't know if you're cheap, but you probably are. So now you're probably like, well, what's so wrong with fake figures, or how can I avoid getting bootlegged? Well, fake figures count as art theft due to the fact that the designer of the figure and the modeler aren't getting the money they deserve, because if too many bootlegs get made, then it could make the real version obsolete, which is really bad, and it really hurts the figure economy. So yeah, okay, how to differentiate between authentic figures and bootlegs. Okay, I told you what a bootleg is, but how do I avoid it? Avoid China-based websites like AliExpress and Wish. I see people get scammed by those websites a lot more than, I don't know, Amazon. Don't trust listings that are only selling the figure for $1 to $16. Like, I see a lot of those listings when I go on eBay. Like, I'll look up Miku figures and go to lowest, and you know, there'll be like 10 billion figure listings for a Sakura Miku for like $16, and I know it's fake. Most importantly, fact check. If you only have access to Amazon or eBay, those websites are the ones you have to do this on. First, check where the seller is located. If it's in Japan, USA, or anywhere that's not notorious for making bootlegs. China. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't know where that coughing fit came from. China. I'm sorry. Yeah, if it's like from Japan, USA, or places like that, it most likely is safe. Make sure to look at the seller's lifetime reviews, and if it's less than a 97%, you probably don't want to buy a figure from them. I mean, you know, sometimes 95% or like just a 90% is good, but if there's like a lot of one-star reviews saying that it was packaged poorly, or the figure was missing parts, or the figure looked weird, then it's probably not a good place to buy the figure from. Also, check the most recent reviews for the figure, or for the seller in general, especially if it's on Amazon, because Amazon likes scamming people with fake figures a lot. So you gotta make sure the seller's good. The most recent review will tell you a lot about what you should expect, especially if the review's from like the current month or the month before. Moving on, what do bootleg figures look like? I probably showed, you know, a few ugly figures already, but what if you don't know what the bootleg looks like? Well, a lot of them are smaller than the original figure, or have horrible paint jobs, and are made out of really cheap plastics. They also tend to have cheap, scratched up bases, so avoid seeing reports of that in the reviews. Bootlegs don't come with boxes as well. Some do, but the boxes usually don't look like authentic. They usually look weird in some sort of way, shape, or form. We're done. No more bootlegs, but you're gonna have to keep that information because I'm gonna go back on it. How to win figures. Round 1, arcade. We're gonna, you know, mostly talk about the USA because I'm gonna assume, it's bad to assume, but I'm gonna assume most of you guys are located in the United States of America. How to win figures. Round 1 is an arcade that originated in Japan. Later, it ended up coming to America as well. But anyways, it had an uproar in popularity. The ones in America are practically in almost every state now, and yeah, they're pretty fun. I like them a lot. I'll make another video about Japanese arcade games. The ones in America mostly have Bandai figures, specifically Bandai Banpresto figures. They're usually in the crane game section or the claw machine section of the arcade, and when it comes to the prize section of the arcade, mostly have Good Smile Company figures, which is really cool because they have a lot of Papa Parade, and sometimes they'll even have Nendoroids. Sometimes they have other brands as well. Once I saw a Sega prize figure. If you buy $55 to $110 worth of credits at round 1 and you decide you want to win a figure from the prize section, forget about having fun. For me, like, the enjoyment is like winning something. So if you're there to purely win something, I suggest going to this one game called Pearl Fishy. It's a pearl game. It looks really pearly. It has a lot of pearls and shells and stuff. So the basics of this game is that there's pearls and demonstration. So the pearl drops, it goes into one of those slots, and then depending on the slot, if it's the pearl slot, it'll give you a lot of pearls. If it's a ticket slot, it'll give you tickets. If it goes into the big pearl slot, it'll drop another big pearl, which helps push a lot. If you get a lot in one of the tickets or pearl spots, you'll enter party time, which will get you a lot of tickets if you just spam the button a lot. I suggest spending all your money on this game. It might not sound that fun, but trust me, it's exhilarating and it's fun enough. If you spend all your money on this game, you'll have a good chance of winning 1,000 to 3,000 tickets, which will get you a Pop-Up Parade figure or an Android, depending on which one you want, or like a figure in general, because it doesn't have to be the higher quality figures in the price section. But there are also anime figures and anime plushies in the crane game / claw machine section. So to win an anime figure, I'll do a video on this, but don't get nervous. Just don't. Relax and try to think about how gravity works. That's all the advice I have for you now. Another thing, if an anime store has something called an Ichiban Kuji, you will be able to win a figure from that as well. To sum it up, an Ichiban Kuji is a lottery where you can win Japanese prizes. You win every time, but it's hard to win a figure because the figure tickets, or however the Ichiban Kuji is set up, are more rare than everything else, so it'll be harder to win. But you will get something. Like once I went to an anime store near me and my cousin won a figure. That was really cool actually. It was a Megumi non-scale prize figure. It's pretty cool. Where to buy figures IRL. This is probably what you've been waiting for. Unless you're just too afraid to touch grass, then we'll get to you later. Like I said, anime stores. If you go to Google and look up anime stores near me, something should pop up. And because of the information I told you earlier about price ranges for certain figures, there's only a 90% chance of you getting scammed now. There are figures at comic shops, anime shops, sometimes video game shop have figures. Box Lunch, Hot Topic, FYE/Fi, and GameStop also have figures. So Box Lunch, Hot Topic, Fi, and GameStop might not be in your state if you're in the USA, but they might also be in your state. So yeah, if they are, I do suggest trying to go to one to get a figure. Where to buy figures online. This is the last section of this video. As you can see, the video is coming to an end. So remember how I told you about check on Amazon and eBay? This is gonna come into play here. Like I said, if there is an anime store near you, might also have a website. So if you're too scared to touch grass and, go outside to buy a figure, just look up the website. Box Lunch, Hot Topic, Fi, and GameStop also have websites. So just go to them. And then when it comes to specialized anime figure websites, there are gonna be a lot. I know a lot, and there are a lot of them. But I'm gonna try to keep it as simple as I can. The ones I shop at are AmiAmi, Tokyo Taco Mode, Crunchyroll Store, Big Bad Toy Store, Galactic Toys, Nakama Toys, and Good Smile US. And like I said earlier, you can shop for figures at Amazon or eBay. But make sure you do your research, and I already told you how to do your research, so if you need a little reminder, go back to that area on the video. Now, my not-so-beloved viewers, we've reached the end of the video. If you have any questions, I'll probably do a Q&A video answering any questions you got from this video. That'll be all. That's your idiot's guide to figure collecting, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, comment down below any questions, and yeah, I'll talk to you later, I guess.